All right, she said our topic this morning was going to be think like a marketer, not an advertiser. But you know what? It's 7:30 in the morning, right? I would like everybody to stand up, please, with me. Would you do that for me? Just stand up. All right, I promise no jumping jacks. Okay, I promise that. But I'm going to ask you to do something for me before we get started, just to get us ready this morning, all right? All right, let everybody get in here first. This is great. All right. We want everybody to be involved in this, so a lot of people coming in right now, so I'm going to just wait a minute. But I want to thank you for being here this morning. I know it's early. I think we're going to make it a tremendous asset to you for being here. But I've asked everybody just to stand up, and I want you to do 3 things for me before we start, okay? Just humor me a little bit, all right? I'd like each of you to move one side, either to your left or your right, just one step. Would you do that this morning? Everybody? All right. All right. Second thing I would like you to do for me, would you take your right hand, place it over your heart? All right, good. Good job. Last thing I'm going to ask you to do, would you just do a 360? Turn right where you're at. Please just turn around. Very nice. Now here's what you can have. I want you to do when you leave here this morning. I want you to tell everybody that when you attended this seminar from Knorr, that you were moved, that your heart was touched, and you were turned around. Have a seat. We'll get started this morning. And if you haven't had the orange juice out there, it doesn't get any better out there, that machine. We call this think like a marketer, not an advertiser. There's a major reason for it. Things are dramatically changing. If you're under 30 this morning, like some of the people here are, you already understand that clearly. I've had to remanufacture myself 4 times now as a marketer to stay up with what's going on. It was back in the early 90s, I told my wife, throw out everything I learned at the university. You know, it's all gone. Who would have thought global? Who would have thought the consumer being in control? Who would have thought the internet? Who would have thought one-on-one marketing instead of mass marketing? And it goes on and on and on. But you see, I will tell you this. I go into stores every week, and I hear these kind of questions. What media is the best media to use? What's really working out there today? How do I know if my advertising is working? And I promise you this, if you're doing today what you're doing 5 years ago, you're losing a tremendous amount of opportunity. It is not about advertising today. It is totally 110% about marketing. And we're going to discuss what marketing is in just a minute. But let me ask you some questions. In the coming years, how are you going to handle less traffic coming into your stores? The national trend is happening that way. In November and December, the top 40,000 stores in America saw a 14.7 drop in traffic. Why was the drop in traffic? Economy? I don't think so. Not exclusively. There are other issues with that. Okay? How are you going to handle that? It's a national trend. Do you know why? And do you know what the options to that are? That's what we're going to talk about this week. Another question, how will you address e-commerce? Oh, I can't address e-commerce. I'm in a little store in XYZ, USA. Good morning there. Good morning. And you're not late, we started early, okay? But how are you going to handle e-commerce? Should you handle e-commerce? We're going to talk about it very clearly this morning. All right? Another couple of questions. How will you get incremental sales increases this coming year? Do you know? Have you got a plan? Have you planned that 4, 5, 10% increase you know you need to get? How are you going to do it? Do you know this morning? If you don't, you're not ready for 2014. Do you know how to be seen by your target consumers when they're online? Do you know how to go with them wherever they're at for them to see you? Do you know that? You need to. How will you increase your gross margin and average ticket this year? You need to. And when we're going to see that there's going to be less traffic, why are you content with 25 to 30% closing rates? We're going to talk about that this morning, when they should be 50 plus. There's no excuse. Consumer is changing. What we did 5, 10 years ago does not work today. It is inefficient, and you will lose tremendous opportunity. So I get asked questions like these that I just told you all the time. And the questions a marketer knows how to answer, an advertiser will just get lost in the shuffle. Big difference. It is no longer about a cute idea in advertising. It's about a marketing and media strategy that works consistently all the time in all mediums, traditional and digital, to accomplish reaching the consumer and getting connected and building an opportunity to drive them into your store. Marketing textbook definition. I learned this back in, I won't tell you how long ago, in the university. Marketing is moving goods from producer to consumer for a profit. And you realize you're in the middle of that? You're not there's like one manufacturer here this morning, but most of you are retail of some sort, and you're in the middle here. You're trying to take what they manufacture, sell it for a profit, satisfy a consumer. What's Doug's definition of marketing? I get to the bottom line, putting money, more money on the bottom line. Don't get caught up in sales and no profit. Don't get caught up in sales and minimal profits. Find a way to increase profit margins. And there's several ways to do it. It's increasing sales, increasing gross margin, increasing average ticket to allow that, the whole retail triangle, but it's also cutting costs. Do you know where you can cut costs? I wrote an article for the Furniture Now a few years ago, and it was the theory of $19.23. Do you realize if you save $19.23 a week at the end of the year, that's another $1,000 on the bottom line? And you say, well, $1,000. How many times can I do the 1923? What gets measured improves. We'll be talking about that this morning. And this morning we're going to talk about 4 proven solutions that successful marketers embrace. And if we don't embrace it, we fail. So let's get started. The number 1, you must develop a marketing and media strategy. Well, everybody says, well, of course you do. But how do you go about doing it? I walk in, I'm going to be meeting somebody here, I know this morning at 9 o'clock. Mentioned a client, they've already talked to us, and we took a look at everything. And I can tell you from what little bit we've looked at it, they don't have a marketing strategy. They don't have a media strategy. And yet they're hoping to increase sales. You need to build a foundation. The cornerstone is going to be your brand. I've preached for 15 years, and it's got more important all the time, and we're going to take a few minutes to talk about it. Successful companies build their brands. Now, what is a brand? We like to talk about the brand promise. You have to, first of all, define how you are different from the competition. If you're not different, why would they want to necessarily choose you? I see so many retailers chasing the tails of the other retailer next door. Don't do that. We're going to talk about that. Define what you do better than your competitors. What is it you do better than your competitors? It could be presentation. I'm fond of talking about what's your best. Am I the quickest? Am I the cheapest? Am I just plain and simply the best? And here's why. Okay? What's your best? All right? Why having a brand promise is important. Let's look at this. All right. Bunch of retailers. Which one would you select? Which one tells you something unique about themselves? Did you point him out? Oh, there he is. There's why. This is what a brand promise does. It lets you stand out and separate yourself from everyone else. It helps them understand the why so they can understand the what. Every consumer, they don't care about what you've got to say to them until they know why they should have a reason to be concerned about what you say. Have you given me enough information that I can understand why I have to come to your furniture store? And when you think about it, and we're going to talk about how many people are shopping online and how they've cut down how many stores they're going to, it's real important, especially online, even almost as much. Tremendously important. It's all important. But we're going to go into this a little bit more. Your brand promise must have 3 things. Relevancy. Do you know your target and why you're relevant to them? We have clients with 2 stores or more, and all of a sudden markets are different. We're grappling one with right now in Iowa with that. We've got to make a lot of adjustments. In one of them, we're a tremendous brand in one, and kind of the new kid on the block in the other. And we've got to really go after that this year. And we're going to be very aggressive in that area. So it needs to be relevant. Why do I want to shop your store? Why? Or your product? Number 2, it needs to be defended every day. Is your brand promise being defended by your merchandising? Is it being defended by the way you do business? Does it defend it every day? Or when people come in, does the brand promise lie? The minute it lies, you're done. If you go to Disney and you don't have fun, would you go back? When you drive a Lexus, what do you expect from a Lexus? The brand promise. Luxury. Tiffany's, it's elegance. If it's my favorite pasta place, it's going to be stuffing your face, okay? It's all good. What do I expect when I go there? And it has to be integrated into everything you do. If your brand isn't integrated consistently through every aspect, I have seen people, they take their logos, they change colors, they change the way it looks, and on and on and on, and they wonder why there's no consistency. Why it doesn't break through all the clutter we're going to be talking about in a minute. It needs to be relevant, defensible, integrated in everything you do. Your brand message here. Questions. Is it consistent in your traditional media and your digital media? Do you have in-store signage that defends it? So when they come into your store, they're constantly being reminded why you exist, what you do special for them. Merchandising. Does the merchandising, when you look at it, and what you had in your advertising, defend it? I had a guy, I walked into it, probably Flexi was his #1 line. And all of his advertising was pushing $4 and $5 and $6.99 sofas. I says, what are you doing? All you're doing is, he's wondering why his close rate wasn't strong. He was advertising and bringing in the wrong target for what he had on the floor. Makes no sense. It needs to defend what you have, and you need to be able to use that merchandising to defend your marketing brand promise. And when they come in, they'll say, that's what I expected, and that's what I found. Does every employee know how to communicate and deliver your promise? There's a bunch of salespeople here this morning. I apologize in advance, but I still will say it. The weakest link in any furniture store is the sales staff. We want to think that they're heroes. Too many of them are zeros. They bust their buttons because they sold an $800 sofa. It could have been a $5,000 sale if they got into the home. If you're going to have less traffic and you want more satisfied customers, you need to deliver the total experience to them and not let them off the hook. You're not to be tour guides when they walk in your store. You're to be a professional that understands what they really want. They wouldn't be there. They would not be there if they didn't want a better experience in their life when they're at home. Understand that. Okay, a lot more I could say, but I've got a short time. Some quick facts this morning. I've surveyed consumers. Here's what they said. 65% of them said this. I wasn't sure what retailer I would purchase from, and I wasn't sure what brand manufacturer I would purchase. That's a Google Furniture study, page 2. 2/3 have no clue. Do you realize people like me love that? That means I've got 2/3 of the universe that I can show why they should be coming to see me. You get it? They don't know. And you know that when they walk in your stores, they don't know what they're looking for. They need you to take them through the whole process and define what they're needing and provide them a solution. And it isn't about price. There's some that is, but it's about understanding the tremendous experience they're going to have. And if we as companies and the sales staff understand this, we're going to help people enjoy a much more satisfied experience than just selling them, something less than what they really deserve. 44% discover brands via search on their mobile tablets. That means probably on their mobile tablets just before they're ready to shop, they could be in their car. And they're defining who they're going to shop and what. Are you prepared online to get that done? Does your brand communicate itself? I go into so many places. Well, I have this template that I use, and there's no marketing to it. There's nothing that differentiates you from anybody else, except we're nice. We have good service. Well, I expect good service. Don't make that the reason I should come there. If you don't have good service, I'll tell you, I won't be there. Quick study, a client of ours in Nebraska. You'll see furniture and bedding for less. I mean, I've got so many I could use. We just chose to use this one this morning. They have two stores. They have a really nice home store, and then they had a small, 8,000 square foot store that was called it Furniture and Bedding for Less. It wasn't doing well at all. Okay, it just wasn't. And, the question we asked ourselves when we went through a marketing communications plan and looked at strategies for both stores, we looked at this and says, well, what is the promise here? I mean, everybody says their stuff's for less, right? Plus it didn't look all that good. So we turned Dietz with their home store. We made a Dietz budget furniture and mattress. Put a major awning on the front. Dietz budget furniture and mattress. Good stuff, great prices. Good stuff, great prices, all right? The results, first year sales were up 59%. Gross margin went up 2 points. They enjoyed double-digit increases in the following year. Their main store that year increased about 30 points, 30% the first year. Why? They were acting like a local retailer. We showed them how to look like a regional retailer. Nothing special. But expanded what they were doing so that both stores grew tremendously. How did we do that? We took a look at the marketplace. We took a look at the opportunities. We said, what do you do? You're hitting this little bit, you could do all of this, reposition a little bit, work with some manufacturers that are well known, and got them to price it down so that we could draw people in with fodder. It all came together. It all worked. Bottom line was it's been very successful relationship. Here's something that's very important about branding. Breaking through the clutter. Do you realize how much clutter there is out there today? It's unbelievable. I mean, you're barraged with hundreds, if not thousands, of different messages a day. So subliminal, you don't even know it. Here's what I believe. When you do your advertising, if it is blah, 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 or if it's so filled with stuff, nothing stands out, your customers, the consumers, basically won't hear you or see you. And if they don't see your message, if they don't hear your message, you don't exist in their minds at that moment in time. You see, when you spend all these hard-earned dollars, you better get seen. You better have something that encourages and entices them to say, I have got to check this place out. There's nothing worse than spending $100,000, $500,000, some of our clients, $2 million in advertising and not get seen. You don't exist. How ludicrous. Branding is vital, and the message must break through the clutter. Your brand message must be integrated through every promotion, all promotions, and in every meeting. If you don't do that, you're losing steam, you're losing opportunity, you're not being seen the way you could be seen. Quick facts. Tablet owners use a second screen daily while watching TV. You want to talk about clutter? Here's a term that I coined a couple, 3 years ago. I call it multi-minding. You've all heard multitasking, right? Do you know what's worse than multitasking? When you spend all this money on your TV and you're doing this or that or trying to reach them with huge TV budgets, what are they doing? He's on his laptop, talking on the phone. How many of them are getting everything you told them? How many of them are hearing everything you said and you just paid $500 for news? Multi-minded. So how do we help out? We can't change that, can we? But we can make our message so unique, so stand out, so strong, not just say, well, just get her done. That'll be good enough. Doesn't cut it. You're making this huge investment. Get a return. Get their attention. Demand their attention. That's not bad enough. This comes from the TV Research Bureau of its own self. When they went from, remember the old days, 2 and 3 spots in a break? Now we got 5-6 minutes of a break. We all can go out and iron clothes or do something else and come back and not miss a thing, right? When they did that, the research has shown that the consumer watching that television program and those commercials that are so many literally reduced their ability to remember your commercial by 50%. That means that $300 news just became $600. Effective. Now, I'm not against television, but it's a battle. I love television, don't get me wrong. We're not against television. But a lot has to happen. Breaking through the clutter is getting more difficult is what I'm trying to tell you. You know that. Think about how you live. Think about what you do and understand the consumer's the same. What have I done to earn you to listen to me? Well, we have a client in Kansas who, when they first came to me, they had 70,000 square feet of stores in Topeka, Kansas. He said, Doug, we're thinking about buying the Macy's. It's 193,000 square feet. What do you think? I said, I think that's 123,000 square feet of potential merchandising mistakes. What would you have told them? They didn't listen. No, I'm just kidding. No, they made the right move. It's a great, beautiful store. All right, and they did the right thing because they're just 45 minutes from the Nebraska Furniture Mart. Okay, they needed to keep people in Topeka. What would you have done? How would you have told that story? Would you be trying to say grand opening, sale, 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 sale? Is that the reason to come to a 3,000 square foot store? Is there something more meaningful that breaks you away from everybody else? So I says, well, here's what we're going to do. First of all, I'm going to write lyrics to a song. We're going to have it produced in Nashville. And then we're going to go to television and let them see the uniqueness of your store. Looks much better than a Nebraska Furniture Mart. The selection's unlimited. And we use dancers instead of actors throughout. I'll let you see it.
Sitting at home just feeling blue. You get an idea, you know just what to do. Grab your keys and say let's go. You deserve to have it all. Finding everything for your home. At the furniture mall. Furniture is in the stand, rooms for less. Smiles at every corner. And a better night's sleep awaits your dreams. At the furniture mall. Furniture bring ideas. Coming that happy to your heart. You just found something great. Now your home looks so much better. And you owe it all, yes you owe it all to the furniture mall. That's the furniture mall of Kansas.
All right, not sure what's going on with the sound, and it would look much better on a white wall. My point is, you're seeing it at very low res and very poor. However, what this did, everything we wanted to tell them was in the song line. And if it's a catchy song, like we wrote something that you might know Rod Stewart, okay, we found a guy that sounded just like him, and a song that he had done, transcribed it so it fit within the white lines. And we had fun with this. But when we're all said and done, here's what happened the first month, and the second month, and the third month. So much traffic with even 50 salespeople, they couldn't keep up. Secondly, they had people coming in singing the song, kids dancing. And they were reiterating what we told them by singing the song. All right, finding something great, all these things. So we started with the idea of some people sitting home board. People identified with that. It's been tremendous. Now we're taking it to the next level. We wanted to run that for 3 or 4 months along with our promotions. In the first 2 months, we didn't run a promotion, other than, of course, here's some selection. We use 8-page 4-color broadsheets and all that. But the point was, it was about an experience, an opportunity. Ladies, did you identify with anything that you saw up here? Did it make sense to you this morning? So raise your hand. Make me feel good. All right, good. All right, good. Thank you. All right. Breaking through the clutter is just as important online. We've talked a little bit about tradition. Let's go online for a minute. Do you realize that the average number of websites that the consumer looks at before they enter a store is 5.5? They don't go to 5.5 stores. Why? They've determined online, in time, they cut it down to about 2.5 stores they're going to shop. Will your online presence cause them to choose your store? Or your store? Or your store? And if so, can you tell me this morning why? That's rhetorical. But you need to know why. It will be that brand separation, that target message that reaches your kind of consumer. You can't reach everybody. Not everybody's going to shop at your store, so get over it. Don't be so milquetoast that nothing makes any sense. Drive those who you know should be in your store and earn that by strong brand, strong opportunity to communicate it through all the areas. That starts there. Listen to this. Plus, with over 400 commercial emails on average going to a single inbox monthly, what are you doing to separate your company from all the others? I can tell you the big stores out there, I see it, I'm getting tired of seeing them. If I wasn't in my business, I'd get rid of them. The Art Bands, the Wolves, the Levins, the Mark. I'm getting 5, 6 emails a week. I don't know about you, but I'm in the business and I get sick of it. There's nothing special. We have our own thoughts on how many times to reach consumers, but when you do something, it better be strong. And you better not in your emailing, e-blasting, whatever you want to call it, you better not just say, well, you just got to push something out. The minute you violate what your consumer's looking for in value, it will turn you off. So it's vital that we have a solution that drives them, and they go, wow, I'm so glad you said that to me. I can't use it now, but this is great. And what are you going to do to make sure that you are one of the retailers they visit? We believe, and I've preached it for years, the click and brick strategy when it comes to online. Our goal online is to get you one click closer to our front door. Okay? How do you do that? I see emails going out all the time. They're informational, but they're not attractional. They're not enticing. What we have found very effective, we're going to talk about it in a few minutes, but I'll add it right now. I think it makes sense. You know, if you're not making an offer, that all they have to do is like you online and print it out and bring it in, you're losing tremendous opportunities. You remember the old show, Deal or No Deal? Deal or no deal? Well, today, when it comes to online, it's like or no like. It is. Get your likes. Make them like you to get the offer so they bring that in and use it and drive the business. Developing a media strategy is flexible and easily held accountable. Your goal is to take and select a target up here, the people you know you need to reach. That means you have to put some teeth into what you are. Stand up and say, this is what we stand for. We don't have the cheapest furniture in the world. We've got the best values. Here's why. Look what we do with FlexSteel. FlexSteel, if you're selling FlexSteel, in Doug's opinion, we found it very effective for our medium-high and high-end clients. They have closeouts. We can get sofas at $350, $400, $450 max. Made in USA. It should sell for $1,200 or $1,300 or $1,400. We can sell them at $800. We do the same thing with Lazy Boy. A client of ours just doubled their Lazy Boy business by having merchandising that drove the business. And it's always there. You got to be careful you don't load up. You get in trouble that way. But there's right ways to do it. And it says, it puts a stake in the ground and says, we are value. It's not lazy retailing. It's going after it, knowing what they want, and earning and proving your brand promise every single day. Advertising mediums have changed dramatically. Today's media is outbound and inbound. The old days, marketing, branding was all about me telling you what I'm going to do, when I'm going to do it, and what I want you to do. That was fun in the 70s and 80s. No English teachers like me, but it ain't working that way today. Today, it's about being interactive, creating a two-way communication. It's not about you telling anybody what they want to do. The internet has empowered consumers to be in control. Do you believe that this morning? And if they're in control, you're job is to come alongside them and say, here's why you want me. I can't tell you anything. You see? And when we do that, we become successful. Why? They say, where have you been all my life? You know me. Let's communicate. What they do on Facebook, they want to do with you. Right? Quick facts. Internet. 85% of adults use the internet. 85% of adults use. 56% of adults use a smartphone. That's going up exponentially every week, by the way. 46% of adults get news online regularly. How many of you sit at home every night at 6, 5, whatever, 10, 11, and watch the news? Do you do that? How many really do that? Okay? Yeah. I guarantee you 20 years ago, everybody would have raised their hand. I don't. It's a rare thing when I do that. There has to be something going on in the local. By 6 in the morning when I start, 6:30 at the latest, I have everything on my smartphone. I know everything I want to know about what's going on in the world. Okay, and I'm an old man. Think about what your target audience is looking for. I promise you, that is where it is at. And so does it make sense to spend a lot more money online instead of, in some markets, $800 for a 6 o'clock news? We think both are important, but we also know where things are going. Quick facts, 3 out of 4 furniture shoppers who are exposed through traditional media to your message go online immediately. 3 out of 75%, they go online to figure out if this is really something they want before they ever enter your store. 67% of adults are on Facebook. Our young kids hate it. Dad, you're not supposed to be on Facebook, or Grandpa, or whatever. But 18 to 29-year-olds, 83% are on Facebook. 30 to 49-year-olds, 77 are on Facebook. 50 to 64, over half, and even 65 plus, almost a third are on Facebook. Is that important to us? Don't you think marketing is about knowing where the consumers are at and going and getting them? Back in the 60s, it was Ed Sullivan. 2/3 of this entire nation sit at home Sunday night and watch the Ed Sullivan show. 2/3. Now, that 2/3 is all online. Go where they are at. I'm not preaching digital media. I'm preaching the combination of traditional and digital. And way too many retailers are afraid of digital, afraid of interaction, afraid of defending why they exist and encouraging them. And we've seen tremendous results these last years. Let me put it this way. If you take your traditional media, you spend all this money this week, do you realize that you're lucky if 2 to 4% of the people that hear or see your ad are even interested in home furnishings? Does that make you happy? So first of all, if you're doing that and you're not building a strong brand with it, you just wasted 96% of your advertising. Because I'm not going to listen. When do you look at tire ads? When you need tires, right? It's the same thing here. Your mind is very selective. I don't need that. You know, it's not important to me. Ignore. Think about this online. When they're searching online, 100% of the people, like with a pay-per-click campaign, and they click onto you, they're really interested. Everyone that clicks through to you is interested and wants to buy. What are you doing when they click onto you? Too many retailers just have a pay-per-click and they don't have what we call a landing page. They don't directly answer what they're looking for. And the consumer says, why am I here? Where am I going? Where's my pathway? To answer my need. You don't care about me. So we use very strategic pay-per-clicks that take them through a landing page and maybe an offer that they can print off if they like us, okay, like or no like, and bring them into the store. Give them what they're, make it easy for them. If it's not easy, what are they going to do? Click you off and go somewhere else. And you can't afford that when 2/3 of the world is searching that way. You can't afford it. Marketers understand that. Today's winning media strategy is fully integrating traditional digital media, and I will add to this slide, making sure that every employee knows how to communicate and deliver and execute that promise. If they don't, get rid of them. If they can't be taught, they will hurt you. I'm dead serious. And if you're at the top of your company and you don't get it, you need to have a behavioral change. This is what marketers do. The first thing I tell anybody, I cannot build a brand in any company if the CEO and owner at the top doesn't embrace it. You don't build a brand with mid-level management. It starts at the top and trickles down. The leader is always the leader. As owners, CEOs, presidents, what you embrace, your people will follow and embrace. 95% of the people in America follow. 5% lead, and out of that, you're lucky if 2% are true leaders. That's the statistics. Signage internally. And they see the same promise in the store as what I told them outside the store. Reiterate it. Resell them as to why they're there. Well, yeah, that's why I'm here. That's number one. We got 3 more to go, but don't get scared. Number 1 was longer than the other 3 together. All right, number 2, strengthen your advertising with targeting. The best way to target, we believe, is with direct mail and email. So we're going to talk about that for a couple minutes. The most effective tool we've had is to reach both existing and new consumers is with direct mail. For example, I have a client I've been working with for 20 years in northern Michigan, 4 stores, adding a 5th shortly. I kept coming at them for 5 years. Guys, we need to get out and hit mailbox outside. They give us a discount in the first place, and we'll get into that in a minute. But I says, we're always hitting our same people. We're only doing it 5 times a year. We're hitting our same people. Now they finally said, all right, we'll try. The amount of new customers that we drove into their store for the first time was amazing. Sales were the same, but they were a bunch of new customers. We have a client in Rockford, big store, over 100,000 square feet. And he said, he said, I've never seen so many new customers in my store. I said, you haven't been speaking to those people before. You see? There's opportunities everywhere. And direct mail is a great medium, which we're going to talk about for a minute. What gets measured improves. A dear old friend of mine, I miss him, John F. Lawhon. If you're as old as I am, you knew him. And he was one of the wisest men I knew about operations and furniture sales. Tremendous. I miss him tremendously. But what gets measured improves. He wrote a book about that called The Selling Bible. If you haven't read it, it's great to read. The disciplines that are there, making people tell you why they didn't buy, so that you know what to do with your merchandising. I mean, there's so many disciplines that we don't do today, because too many salespeople are mavericks, and they don't want to discipline themselves to become professional salespeople. And I know I'm pounding that hard, but I'm encouraging you when you go home to deal with it, to grow your companies. Direct mail. We love it. What we do at Knorr, and marketers should always do, is define 2 different markets. We have a primary market. This is the market that we believe is our very best market, and we focus on increasing dollars per household in those zip codes. Then we create a secondary market like we did for Dietz in Nebraska that really drove the business, people they had never been reaching, and we have a smaller amount of dollar return we want on that. But it's going to be new customers. We're going to drive new people. If you don't get new people in your store, you will not grow. It doesn't work that way. With sales expectations for both primary and secondary, and accountability demands consistent adjustment to reach expected results. What I'm saying to you, we get sales from our clients, most every client, some aren't as consistent as we would want, but we like to get them all in on Tuesday for the previous Tuesday through Monday sales. And we watch what's going on by zip code. We hold it accountable. We say, we've got a problem. We're mailing here 4 times. We haven't got results. Let's try something else. It's because we've tried changing the message. We've looked at it, or the host, the look of it, and we're going to go and find where we're going to invest our money and get a return. That's what we do. Customized mailbox. You've probably all heard of EDDMs. And we've been doing it for many, many years. Those started back in the 90s, but the post office just started marketing it to make more money because of emails right now. Okay? But EDDMs are not your they're not doing you any favors. They're very inefficient. When you can do a customized mail walk and get the same low postage and not go to those areas that people won't respond in. Too many wobbly boxes, or I guess you guys call them trailers. Okay, multifamilies, universities, you don't want to reach that. So we're able to not only keep the low, it just went up a little bit, I think it's tapping over 15 cents postage, depending on the kind of piece you're doing. But you can go after it, you can select it. Usually we find there's about 60 to 65% of them that we want to reach and still get the same EDDM price, but with a customized mail walk. Tremendous opportunities. The goal is to have greater penetration into your best zip codes, and in the secondary market, define the zip codes where you can increase sales. And one of my favorite management axioms is this: what you expect, you inspect. Don't spend your money and not hold it accountable. Watch it. It takes a lot of time. But watch it. Stay on top of it. Know what's going on. Make needed adjustments. I have a client out near Pittsburgh, south of Pittsburgh. And he's one of these guys who just wants to buy everybody all the time. I just don't do that. And we'll go back to him and show him, look at you, we put 6 emails in the zip code. There's no response. Let's invest your money somewhere else. Well, I think. I says, don't think, don't feel. Live by the numbers. Live by the numbers. Don't go by, well, you know, if I tried again, it may work. Go where you get a return on your investment. You wouldn't put your hard-earned money someplace that didn't give you a return or cost you money. That's just simply foolish. But we do it every day in business. I tell my clients, and I tell people in the industry, get off the treadmill of busyness and start building your business. That means you need to inspect what you expect. Hold it accountable. Study. A client in our second year with them, Central New York State, in the middle of 3 DMAs. Can't use TV, can't use radio. They have very little newspaper penetration, so you got a couple of weeklies. I mean, not real good. We've had to do it all. We did a marketing communications plan, build his new brand message, and our media strategy is, other than digital, is pretty much almost, I'm going to say 90% of the traditional media is direct mail marketing. And this client runs 50 points margin, gross margin, 50 points all the time. His prior 12 months, he was at 4.36, 4,360,000. First year, he was up 33%. Same budget. Hit 5 million, just under 5.8. And this year, he's growing again. But here, analysis is always the key. You know, just because we do all of this doesn't mean it's always a home run all the time. You need, if there's anything I can help you understand as you leave here, marketers, analyze, 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 and adjust, adjust, adjust. Imagine a quarterback. Imagine Peyton Manning, who's going to win next Sunday. No, imagine, I just blew it, I know. But Peyton Manning, do you think when he's even up there calling the play, does he ever adjust? It's what he sees. He's analyzing all the time. He's going to make an adjustment. And he calls a different play. And you win games, you win Super Bowls that way. You'll win at retail that way. That's what it's about. Get in the game. I'm fond of saying furniture retailing is not a spectator sport. You got to get in and play hard every day to win. But play smart, analyze, make adjustments, check them, move, 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 build, build, build. That's exciting. That's working on your business, not working in it. Email strategies. I saw a client says, does that stuff really work? The number one reason your customers sign up for emails, 95% of them, discount offers. If you're not doing that, I have high-end client in New Orleans, high-end. Okay? And he's the highest end in all of New Orleans, probably all of Louisiana. And we have had tremendous success by offering discounts online like us. And this guy gets it, he says, I don't care if you spend 10% of my budget, which is a pretty good sized budget, on digital. He understands that's how he's going to win the game. You can't do one without the other anymore. It has to be this dovetail. You want to reach the consumer, you need to make sure your online is supporting, defending it, and sometimes even leading your traditional offline. One of our clients sitting here today, Simpson Furniture. He says, I'd like to do a little test. I love this guy. Stand up, Dale. This is too cool. Okay, Dale Leonard, I don't know, Simpson Furniture. I
love you too, Doug.
This blew my mind. It did. I wouldn't have been this bold to go to a client and say, let's do this. Super Saturday, e-blast, some strong offers, also published a claimable offer on Facebook and a tweet for the discount. Average Saturday's what, 40-some thousand at that store? That Saturday did $104,000. Some tremendous offers. Advertising costs below $400.
So you lost the other one.
Here's what I'm telling you. Yeah, he doesn't need an advertising agency or marketing firm anymore. Does it always work that way? No. But this, I want you to understand the power of online and the opportunities that are there. And it's constantly a blend. If he wasn't a great brand in his market, it wouldn't have mattered. He and his lovely wife just romance everybody on TV all the time and in the print. And they have a strong brand in the local market. So thanks for letting me use that there. Merchandising is number 3. Merchandising is going to be simple. Merchandising defends your marketing. You've got to work hard here and in High Point. Find those lines that give you clean distribution and they have features and benefits that will defend why you are a tremendous value to that target consumer. For example, I love John F. Long, something he taught me when I still had hair, okay? He said, if you have a product on your floor that has, let's say, 20 features and benefits, and after telling the consumer 10 of them, the customer, they say, good, I'll buy it. He says, you're doing yourself a tremendous dissatisfaction. And that customer will never be totally as satisfied as you just say, you just made a great plan. Let me tell you the rest of the features and the benefits. Here's the other 10, and those extra 10, as well as all 20 of those features and benefits, becomes a story that they tell everybody else every time it's in their home. And that's what makes them totally satisfied. Do not let your customer leave without story about what they bought and why they're so happy they visited your store. Don't be lazy. Have fun at your wonderful profession. You have a tremendous fiduciary responsibility to create satisfied customers for life. And it's about story. It's about your brand promise getting executed at every level of your company. We call it brand environmentalism. Is your brand being seen at every level of your company and communicated at every point of contact? That's what marketers do. You need to do that. Or find someone that can help you accomplish that. I don't care if you're a manufacturer or if you are a retailer. You need to separate yourself. You need to use all the channels that you need to take and create satisfied customers that are so happy that they visited your store. Here's a big idea. Consumers don't look at themselves as consumers today. They look at themselves as what I call prosumers. They want to believe that they're part of the process. They want to be involved in to the point that they can help you make the right decisions. Is that right? We call them prosumers, not consumers. They're not just waiting to hear what you have to say. They want to be involved. They're power hungry, being online, and they want to understand, and they want to be part of that process. Why not? It's just a big idea. While you're here, if you have, how many have Facebooks for their company? How many do blogging every week? Go down a little bit, okay? How about this, while you're here, get pictures of some things that you're not sure about, put it on Facebook and say, we're here at Market, would you mind telling me what you think about this? You're part of our company. You're on the board of directors today. Do you think that would happen? What do you think the consumer will think about that? Do you think that would be a positive thing? I know it will be. Invite him to be a part of where you're going. That's my store. I help make a decision for that store. That's what it's all about. This is why we're talking interactive, two-way communications, having fun with our customers, making them feel fully satisfied and a part of what we do. It's their store, not your store. When you get there, it begins to change, and plus, hopefully, you make a few less bad merchandising decisions. Last point I want to make is remarketing. How many of you understand remarketing? Yeah, it's pretty new, but it's going to be one of the most important things you're going to do in the coming months and years. Take this to the bank. First of all, it involves two things. Finding a way to get the customer who just bought from you back into your store. And secondly, making sure that you're visible wherever that consumer is online. That's what has to happen here. It's called remarketing, retargeting. Both words work. I'm going to talk about the first big money maker, and I'm going to show you some unbelievable results with trigger mailings. We created trigger mailings. I didn't bring a picture. It's a 5x8 postcard, personalized to the person who just bought. And whatever they bought, we have about 10 different triggers that we send them and say, you bought a bed and buy a mattress. Here's a $100 gift card for a mattress at this price minimum, or a % off. I got 20 minutes yet.
Yeah.
All right, I'll be going. We're almost there. Okay, I'm going to show you the results of this. This is probably hard to read. This client is in Kansas at the end of 8 months. 8 months. These are the different trigger cards that went out. We sent out 19,158 cards. All right, personalized. Cost of $15,517.98, all first, one at a time, all personalized, all first class mail. Responses were 1,431. Had a response rate of almost 7.5%. How many times did you get that direct mail? But here's the question. That $15,500 redeemed $1,700,000 and change. Advertising costs less than 1% of sales. Is that worth it? That's a big story. It's a big money maker. I don't have any client right now that doesn't want to do Ford this. We have another one, showed you deeds. I don't remember the numbers, maybe you do, Isaac.
1.4%.
What's that?
1.4%.
1.4%, or basically 1.4 cents per percent of advertising costs against the results. Okay? What we do with that, if we start with 8 triggers, we might say, well, gee, these 2 aren't worth it. Analyze, right? And then all of a sudden, it even gets better. And what we do is hold back 10% of them to see what the lift factor is off of those that we didn't send out, to hold ourselves accountable. Okay? So, let me go on because time is short. I'd love to answer some questions. E-trigger mailings, frequency marketing, we are increasing ROI by adding e-trigger mailings to your trigger mailings. They see it, they get a personalized card, we're seeing a greater return on that. This data was collected by Epsilon last year. Trigger emails received 50% more opens than standard email marketing messages. Respond to someone who's just in your store and made a purchase, and you make them another offer. Last thing I want to talk about is pay-per-click remarketing and retargeting. Okay? Here's what it is. You all understand pay-per-click probably? There's a whole new way to look at this with remarketing, retargeting. Basically, what we do is we create the same offers, but they follow your customer wherever they go online. They're looking for a dress, all of a sudden you're there. Okay? When they browse through the web, they follow your consumers. Stay engaged with your target audience. Highly relevant ads that offers from you across the web is constantly with them. Your brand is top of mind when they're ready to buy. Stay connected to your consumers is what we're talking about here. Huge for the future. I want to conclude with this, 4 major things. Number 1, develop a marketing strategy. Here's what I mean. Build your brand, defend it with your merchandising and the way you execute in the store and all that you do. Develop a media strategy that you can hold accountable. That's how you develop a marketing and media strategy. Number 2, strengthen your advertising. How? Integrate traditional and digital media. Get connected, establish two-way communication, and make offers that entice them to take that click and turn it into coming to your brand, okay, to your store. Merchandising must defend your brand. Please, I'm going to be really serious about this. How many of you do GMROI reports constantly? Thank you, one of you. I walked into a client. They do $8 million in sales. A new client. They've never done a GMROI report. What? We showed them how they could reduce inventory by $250,000. And also what needed to go, what they needed to do to reshape. Sales increased. They had the most profitable year last year. Turned everything around. Why? Analysis. Know what's going on with your merchandise. If it's not selling, that means your consumers, your customers don't want it. Get rid of it. Shoot it. I'm fond of saying every item on your floor is a soldier. If he's not winning the war, shoot him. Right? Remarketing. Remarketing allows you to get people back in your store. How many of you believe that when they make the first purchase, the buying process is done? I promise you this, when they take and make the first purchase, it's just the beginning. It's not over, it's just the beginning. There's dollars in those there for. So increase dollars per customer and be seen where targeted consumers are online. And I want to thank you for thinking like a marketer. So I hope this morning that you were moved, that your heart was touched,